Good afternoon. I hope you're having a great day today, that you're enjoying the Lord's blessings on this Monday. The verse for today is a familiar one. It's part of the Lord's Prayer, Matthew chapter 6, verse 11. It says, "Give us this day our daily bread." Now, that to us seems a very simple prayer, but there's a lot of history to it. If you'll go back and remember in the Old Testament, as the people of Israel were wandering in the desert for 40 years, they had to depend on God to provide their bread every day. That something like dew would come down every morning. It would settle on the ground and dry into flakes that they called manna, and they could take those flakes and they could cook with it. They could make bread out of it, and this became something that they depended on for their food during those 40 years that they were wandering in the desert. And so they knew that God told them, "I will send this to you on 6 days. On the seventh day, I'm not going to send it to you. Don't go out and try to collect it on the seventh day, because it won't be there. Don't collect more than you need each day, because if you hold it over to the next day, it will spoil. So you just have to learn every day you need to go out and collect your bread, and you can trust me that I will provide it for you." That's the thing. It wasn't about control. It wasn't God trying to control them. It was God trying to teach them to trust Him for their daily provisions. So when Jesus taught His disciples, and when He teaches us to pray, "Give us this day our daily bread," it's hearkening back to that concept that we need to trust God daily for our bread, for everything that we need to survive. We need to trust Him to provide us for it. Uh, that's something that we can do. It's something that we should do. In fact, it's something that He desires for us to do, is to trust Him. Does that mean it's wrong to have money in the bank? No. Uh, but we realize that that can go away in a heartbeat. That things can happen that are very much beyond our control. So even if we have jobs where we have income, even if we have some money in the bank, we still have to trust God for our daily bread. We have to trust Him that we will have the ability to continue to make money. We have to trust Him to allow us to manage it well, so that we can so that it will last. We need to trust Him for the very breath that we breathe. It all comes from Him. So that prayer for us today is very relevant. Give us this day our daily bread, and Lord, help us to trust you with that. Now, as the thing that in my devotion this morning, as I was reading this, there was one thing that came to mind that I had not connected. This is in Matthew chapter 6, where Jesus is teaching, "Give us this day our daily bread." If we go back a little bit to Matthew chapter 4, in the story of the temptation of Jesus, uh, the first temptation that the devil did with Jesus was, "If you're the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." And Jesus answered, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." So if we connect those two verses together, I don't think I'm doing violence to the text to connect these two things. Jesus is telling us in the Lord's Prayer to trust God and to ask God to give us our daily bread every day. But He's also, I think when we look at it in light of Matthew chapter 4, He's also teaching us it's not just about bread. It's not just about our physical needs, but we also need to trust God to provide what we need to grow spiritually every day. So we need to ask God today, teach me something new. God, show me your word today. Show me something that I need in order, not just for my body to live, but for my soul to thrive today. Of course, part of that means we need to be in the Word every day, that we need to take the time to read the text, to interact with it, to think about it, so that it can teach us, so that we can grow from it. So when you pray today, when you pray the Lord's Prayer and you get to that line, "Give us this day our daily bread," remember to trust Him to provide for you physically. But beyond that, remember what He said about man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word from the mouth of God. So make sure today that you're doing something to help you to grow spiritually. Make sure you're doing something today that gets you into God's Word, so that your spirit can thrive as well as your body. Have a great day today. Walk with God, share his love with somebody, and we'll talk to you another day. Take care.